Good morning and welcome to Palm Sunday Live, a special programme direct to your living rooms from our studio.
We are in for an interesting show today, with reports coming in of some interesting events occurring around our city of Jerusalem.
We understand all sorts of things are going on and we'll have live reports from our own reporters at the scene.
Also in the studio today, we have various musical guests who will be presenting to us music for the season.
Standing by in the studio is the Western Territorial Staff Band, who'll present A Victor's Palm, featuring Neil Smith on the xylophone.
Welcome back. Well, it's been a very strange time here in Jerusalem. Many unusual things have happened.
Jerusalem is supposed to be the calm epicenter of the Jewish faith. Under the direction of our leaders, the Roman Empire, the Hebrew faith has been upheld here for many years. The center, of course, being the temple.
Yes, but the peace was shattered earlier this week by one man. It would be very hard not to have heard of the man who is called Jesus. Now, according to reports, he comes from Nazareth, the son of a carpenter who, it would seem, has become accepted as somewhat of a prophet by many.
Let's go live to the Highlands to speak to someone who has heard what this Jesus has had to say. Welcome to the program, David.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're coming through loud and clear. I understand you were up the mountain when Jesus was there.
Yes, and I heard him speak. It was most interesting.
What was different about it?
Well, it's so long since we heard anyone that we could call a prophet, and it took us a bit by surprise. His teaching wasn't what any of us were expecting. His focus was on different groups than usual. He said things like, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, the kingdom of heaven is theirs." And "Blessed are the sorrowful, they will find consolation." Everyone was really surprised. The last real prophet we had never spoke like that. They were full of dire predictions and warnings. This man, Jesus, was more interested in social justice and fairness. His focus was on the gentle, those who were hungry, those who show mercy, those help promote peace, and those that are persecuted. He said that these folk had a place in the kingdom of heaven.
Well, that is different teaching.
Yes, and he had much to talk about regarding forgiveness and love. He said, and I quote, "If you are presenting your gift at the altar and suddenly remember that your brother has a grievance against you, leave your gift where it is before the altar. First, go and make peace with your brother, then come back and offer your gift."
I don't remember any of the prophets saying anything like that.
And how about this? Jesus was saying that contrary to what we have been taught before regarding grievance and justice is wrong. He said, "You have heard that they were told an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But what I tell you is this, do not resist those who wrong you. If anyone slaps you on your right cheek, turn and offer him the other side also. If anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, let him take your cloak as well. If someone in authority presses you into service for 1 mile, go with him 2. Give to anyone who asks, and do not turn your back on anyone who wants to borrow."
What's people's reaction to this?
They were a bit flummoxed. It was so different, so new, so fresh that everyone seemed a bit confused. And then came the punchline. Jesus said, "You have heard that they were told, 'Love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But what I tell you is this, love your enemies and pray for your persecutors. Only so can you be children of the Heavenly Father, who causes the sun to rise on good and bad alike, and sends the rain on the innocent and the wicked."
Well, it certainly looks like he's provoked some discussion. Are many folks following him?
It would seem so. Many folks follow him from place to place to hear more. I'm sure we are all going to hear more about this Jesus.
Thanks, David.
Fascinating news. We'll keep watching and reporting direct to you. But now it's time for a sing-along. Let's all join in with Make Way.
Make way for Christ the King in splendor arise. Flame white the gates and welcome him into your lives. Make way for the King of Kings. Make way, and let his kingdom in. He comes the broken hearts to heal, the prisoners to free. The deaf shall hear, the lame shall dance, the blind shall see. Make way for the King of Kings. Make way, and let his kingdom in. And those who mourn with heavy hearts, who weep and sigh, with laughter, joy, and royal crown, he'll beautify. Make way for the King of Kings. Make way, and let his kingdom in. We call you now to worship him as Lord of all, to have no gods before him, their thrones must fall. Make way for the King of Kings. Make way, and let his kingdom in. Make way for the King of Kings. Make way, and let his kingdom in.
Welcome back. With us now is Rebecca, who is live at the temple. She's been talking to some members of the Sanhedrin about Jesus. Was it an interesting conversation, Rebecca?
Hi, yes, it was fascinating. I've never seen the temple elders and religious folk so concerned and in a dither. They didn't know what to make of this man Jesus. Who is he? What is his message? What does he want? They've all got different answers. The one that's caused the most problems is, could Jesus be the promised Messiah? To even say such a thing is considered blasphemous to many of the religious elite in Jerusalem, and there's been much sackcloth and ashes thrown around. But I can tell they are really worried.
Well, what's worrying them?
We must always bear in mind that the religious leaders are always second to the Roman rulers. Like all people whose authority is questioned and limited, they hang on to whatever bits of authority they have left. They are in charge of the Hebrew religion, and they don't want anyone questioning them or their authority. This Jesus has popped up and is suggesting that some of the old teaching is out of date at the very least. He's teaching about equality, fairness, and love, not concepts that the Sanhedrin are particularly interested in. In fact, they are scared by such suggestions.
Well, what's the worst that could happen?
Well, I think it'll be okay providing Jesus stays out of Jerusalem. If he tries to come here and begin his radical teaching there may be some real problems ahead.
Well, do you think he means to come here?
Who knows? Jesus is completely unpredictable. I wouldn't like to guess what he'll do next.
Let's be provocative and speculate for a moment. If Jesus were to come to Jerusalem, What would his arrival look like?
I suppose it could happen in many ways, but if he is the Messiah, as some say, then the prophet Zechariah was very clear. He said that we should be happy, joyful, and shouting for joy, because the king is coming, riding on a donkey. If he comes to Jerusalem, and if he comes on a donkey, look out, there will certainly be trouble ahead.
Thanks, Rebecca. It's all been very interesting.
Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. He comes to touch the lame, he comes to take the shame, he comes to prove the Father's love. He comes to wash the stains, he comes to break the chains, he comes to claim us as his own. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. He comes to touch the lame, he comes to take the shame, he comes to prove the Father's love. He comes to wash the stains, he comes to break the chains, he comes to claim us as his own. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. He comes to touch the lame, he comes to take the shame, he comes to prove the Father's love. He comes to wash the stains, he comes to break the chains, he comes to claim us as his own. He comes to touch the lame, he comes to take the shame, he comes to prove the Father's love. He comes to wash the stains, he comes to break the chains, he comes to claim us as his own. And my heart cries out, Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna. And my heart cries out, Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna. And my heart cries out, Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna. And my heart cries out, Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna.
Fascinating to watch all this, isn't it?
It is.
New teaching, messianic images. What is the world coming to? There's other things going on, so we'll come back in a moment, but let's first hear from Gillian. What's the weather going to be like, Gillian?
Hello everyone. Yes, the weather as ever is interesting. There's been much speculation recently about the possibility of pestilence. After the rain of last week, you'll be pleased to know that once again we've avoided the Nile being turned to blood. However, the frogs have become a problem again. Some folks have found them in their bedroom and even in the bed. The drier spell around the corner should put a stop to that soon. Drier weather often leads to lice, but as soon as you're careful, I'm sure all will be well. The mozzies will bow out though, so be careful.
And what about our cattle?
Yes, there's been some problems with some of the cows becoming sick. Hopefully that will pass soon now that the weather has improved. The wind will be coming from the south, which can cause heat rash and boils, so be warned about that. Make sure you take care, as we don't want another lockdown. On the radar is also some thunderstorms and hail, so don't go out without your brolly. The south wind will also bring in locusts, so guard your crops and don't let them get in your ears. However, all in all, we've passed the pestilence season quite well and things are looking up for the weekend.
Thanks very much, Gillian.
Well, we've just had some breaking news. Yes, let's go live to Hannah at the Jerusalem stables. Can you hear me, Hannah? Can you hear me? You had a visitor?
Yes, we were mucking out nicely when two guys turned up and were looking at our donkey. He's a lovely donkey, never been ridden and was actually for sale. I asked them what they wanted and they said they wanted the donkey. I laughed and said, I don't think so. They were a bit strange, these guys, dressed a bit scruffy and looked like they'd been on the road for a while. A slight whiff of fish about them. I was about to tell them to leave when one of them turned and looked at me in the eye and simply said, the master needs it. I can't explain what happened or what got into me. I simply said yes and untied the donkey and passed the rope to the man and they led him away. What George will say when he gets back, I have no idea. I'll be in big trouble, but somehow I don't think it'll matter.
Well, thank you, Hannah. I hope it doesn't turn out to be too difficult for you.
That's the second time a donkey's cropped up in our stories this morning.
Yeah.
I wonder if is it significant?
Let's take a break and listen to some more music. Regent Hall Band is ready in the other studio with Swing Hosanna.
Welcome back. During the break, we managed to track down two of the followers of Jesus. We can now ask them some questions. So welcome to the program, Ben and Emma.
Hi.
Where did you first meet this man, Jesus?
We fish for a living. We have a small boat on the Sea of Galilee. We'd been out one night and it hadn't gone very well.
You put the net on the wrong side.
I didn't. You said port side.
Port is the left side.
Oh, is it? Oh well, anyway, we hadn't caught much and had done some damage to the nets.
Because they went over the starboard side.
Whatever. The nets needed repairing. When we got back, we sat on the beach and got on with it. Well, I did. Someone was in a bit of a sulk, but he's not too good with a needle anyway. I had just cut a piece of netting about an inch larger than the tear on all sides. I'd rounded the edges of the patch to prevent pulling.
Knit one, pair one.
I threaded the needle with a double thickness of thread and tied a knot at the end.
What sort of a knot?
It doesn't matter.
Typical.
I'd laid the patch over the hole and was sewing the patch to the netting using an overhand stitch.
Overhand stitch?
Yes, overhand.
And that's when this guy appeared walking down the beach. The other fishermen were there as well, and we all looked up as he got nearer. What did he want? What was he doing there at that time of the morning?
And he just came up, stopped, and looked at what we were doing. Then he looked at us. Well, he certainly looked at me.
And me.
Then he said, "If you follow me, then you won't be fishing for fish. You'll be fishing for people. People that need to hear a message. People that need the Lord."
I didn't know what to say.
Makes a change.
We didn't say anything.
No. We just dropped everything and walked away down the beach with him.
And we've followed him ever since.
So if you are his followers, who do you think he is?
I believe he's the Messiah, the promised one, the Redeemer.
But don't tell anyone we said that.
Well, thanks for joining us here this morning. And your secret is safe with us.
Let's hear a psalm sung for us now, a jubilant song. We're going live to the scene on the entrance to Jerusalem, and I hope I'm going to be able to speak direct to a young person. Grace, are you there? Grace, can you hear me?
Sing Hosanna, sing Hosanna, sing Hosanna to the King of Kings.
Very nice, Grace. But can we just talk for a moment?
Sorry, I'm so excited, that's all. It's all very exciting. Rachel said to me, she said, "Come and see, Jesus is coming." I said, "What?" "Jesus is coming," she said. She grabbed me by the arm and dragged me to the gates. There's hundreds of people here. Everyone is very happy and very excited. Rachel said, "Climb up that palm tree and pull off some of those fawns." "Nah," I said, "it's too high." "Go on," she said. So I climbed up and managed to pull off some of the fawns and throw them down to Rachel. Then we went up to the gates and waved them like mad.
Why did you do that?
I don't know. It just seemed the right thing to do. And everyone was joining in, so why not? Anyway, I saw this guy come towards us on a donkey. He looked a bit funny, a bit uncomfortable. And as I got closer, he was looking around the crowd and suddenly he caught my eye. And, you know, it was weird and everything went quiet. Rachel was still jumping up and down and shouting, but I couldn't hear any of that. Everything was quiet and it seemed like it was just Jesus and me there. It was very personal. I realised he knew everything about me. I was a bit ashamed, but I felt better. The noise started again and Jesus began to walk by. I still waved my palm and shouted Hosanna, but it meant something more then.
And I feel very small.
Well.
Yes, that was an amazing day.
I wonder what's going to happen next.
Well, I don't know. There seems to be some disagreement, doesn't there, about who this Jesus really is. The ordinary folk seem to accept him as a prophet. Maybe even the promised Messiah.
But the religious folk are very suspicious. They're worried even.
I wonder what the Roman authorities think. Would they consider this Jesus as a threat? Could he cause a breach of the peace?
Anything could happen.
Well, we're coming to the end of our broadcast here this morning, live from Jerusalem. And on this day, when a donkey was borrowed, some palms were waved, hosannas were shouted, a man rode in through the gates of Jerusalem, and the religious leaders became worried.
I wonder what will happen next week.
It's going to be a very interesting week.
Well, it's an interesting week here on this
It
channel.
certainly is. On this channel.
Yeah, Wednesday evening we have a scriptural study, and I hope folks are going to be able to join us. No,
Tuesday.
It's not. It's Tuesday.
You've got it wrong.
It's Tuesday, isn't it?
It's Tuesday.
Tuesday is our scriptural study online on Zoom, and I hope you look forward to that. What's happening Wednesday?
Well, Wednesday evening should be a very good evening to tune in. We have Govan going solo with soloists from the choir and also some pieces of poetry. So tune into that, and that is on Facebook and then live to YouTube. What's happening on Good Friday?
Good Friday, there's a special meditation being broadcast on Facebook at 7:30, and that'll be an interesting time. Next Sunday, of course, we're going to have some live people with us here in the studio.
We are. It's going to be absolutely amazing.
And I think there's 1 or 2 spaces left for that.
There are a few spaces left, and the number will come up for you to ring at the end of this programme. You are to ring Commissioner Ibby.
Oh, you've promoted her.
Oh, I've promoted her. Oh,
It's
sorry.
Colonel
It's
Ibby.
Colonel Ibby. There we are. That'll give her a good laugh, won't it? You're to ring Colonel Ibby on her landline, which will follow this programme, and tell her if you would require a place. Now, there's timings for this.
Yes, if you're coming here, you need to be arriving around about 10 o'clock, but you stay in your cars until someone comes to get you. All
That's
right?
absolutely correct.
And then so as everyone can come in individually into the hall and take up their places in their distanced areas. So
And, of course, don't forget your face mask.
don't forget your face masks. No, that's a good point. All right, so we look forward to next week. But for now, we're going to finish our broadcast here this morning by singing together. If you want to sing along with Ride On in Majesty. And I pray that this coming week will be one of great blessing for you all.
And this is Mark and Tracy signing out from Live Jerusalem.